Hello, everyone, and welcome. Will is not quite ready to join the show, but we're here. Bryce Coot alongside Will Menace and Ralph Leary. It's a Thursday night. February. Get closer and closer. Will's getting ready for the show. Ralph, how are you doing
for
tonight?
this? I'm doing well, man.
Doing well.
How
Doing
about
well.
you?
Listen, doing well, doing fantastic. Weather was very nice. That's an improvement. We got some great weather. So we're going to talk a little bit about college football because, hey, why not? Because there's no such thing as an off-season college football. But we are getting ready for an action-packed show. If you haven't already, sign up at thecrowdbooth.com where we're talking college sports. Will, are you ready now? Are you ready for, ready for the show?
My Collinsworth slide in right there?
Yes.
Might be a new thing I
Collinsworth
do.
slide in. That is I like the Collinsworth slide in. But listen, we are going to talk a little bit of college football. We're going to hit on some college baseball and then round it out with a little more recruiting talk. But as you know, we start every single show with the question of the day. Now, typically we've been on this food run, but we're going to switch it up a little bit. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about Mailbag Monday. Send your questions into thecrowdedbooth@gmail.com. All three of us had some great questions that we were able to answer this past Monday. If you have some, go ahead and hit us up right there and let us know. We will answer those. We'll get back to you and talk to you a little bit about everything going on in college football, college sports, pro sports, local high school area sports. We got you covered here in the Chattahoochee Valley area. Let's get to the question of the day. We start off the show here. The best college football jersey and why? Will, I'm going to start with you. What is the best uniform that you've ever seen a team throw on and why?
Man, such a good question. I'm a traditionalist, so normally my favorites are, the ones that never change. Auburn's home and away, Texas home and away, Alabama, as much as that hurts me to say, Georgia, as much as that hurts me to say. But I really like the alternate combinations that Oregon loves to come up with. Some of those they really pop. They really look good. One that comes to mind is that bright yellow. It's just a nice change of pace. They wear it once a year. Cool to see.
They wear it once a year, and I think it will, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like that steel helmet that they have. So it's like the steel helmet with the all yellow jerseys. Mm-hmm. That's a really, really good one. Ralph, who are you going to roll with?
And I'm going to go this past year just because I'm a big fan of Army's jerseys when they come out and play Navy. So the Tropic Lightning jerseys Army wore this past year against Navy. To me, one of the cleanest jerseys, one of the coolest looking jerseys, and I love the reason why they do those jerseys every year.
That's a good one. Before I give mine, I want your second place. I want second place for both of you. So Ralph, I'm going to go back to you for second place.
Well, I'm going to be biased. I know Will's going to get mad at me for it, so it's okay. The Troy Smoke jerseys we wore against App State, we got killed, but still, hey, it was fun to watch wear some pretty cool jerseys. Different than what they usually wear with the maroon or cardinal and white or black. Just wear smoke, look great combo, and then get destroyed in. So
it's a good combo. And they wore them against BYU this year, but they wore it with the white uniforms. Correct?
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, smoke helmets with the white jersey and white pants.
White pants. Okay, Will, go with your second place for you. What if you had to pick? You go the traditionalist. What is your second favorite? We'll say.
I want to be biased, but I'm not going to be biased like Ralph. I'm going to go USC Trojans. Love their home uniforms.
Ooh, I like that.
USC Trojans. So you just like the traditional red and gold, technically, that they're going to roll with. You like that one. That's not a bad one. Not a bad one at all. I'm going to roll with my favorite, some favorite in college football is for me, and I think we're going to talk about them a little bit later on, but is the Texas Longhorns. Just that burnt orange, that's a really good look for me. The white helmet with the Longhorn on it in orange, that's a really, really good one. Comment below if you're watching with us. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We're going to have someone who's going to be a little bit biased a little bit later on about some of the uniforms that you guys don't know is coming on yet, but he's going to talk about some of the best uniforms and a little bit about some college football. I'm going to go with Texas, and then I'm a big fan of Ole Miss. The powder blue is a great color. But, Will, you talked about the other day, Ole Miss's uniforms, just like the regular Navy, is a great – like they just have a good uniform combination.
I love their powder blues, but, I mean, they're starting to overdo it. I mean, powder blue.
They used to wear the powder blue helmets
jerseys
against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of started to wear them more often.
Yeah, and they wear them with the powder blue jersey. That's too much. They're not North Carolina. They don't have that Carolina blue, which is close to a powder blue.
Carolina's throwback uniforms that they wore this year looked really, really good. How do you guys feel about Clemson? They haven't worn them in a while, but the purple uniforms.
Horrendous.
You're not a big purple guy in general.
Horrendous.
Can we just go ahead and talk about what our least favorite jersey is?
What's the least favorite jersey?
The Florida Gator jersey they wore 2 years ago against A&M.
Oh,
they wore just as
I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
terrible.
I think that all purple look by Clemson's worse.
The all purple one by Clemson is bad, but Ralph, I do remember the one that you're referring to. So that's actually going to change our question of the day. We're going to go best. We gave our best. Let's go with the worst jersey that you've ever seen. Will, are you going to roll with Clemson, or is there a jersey that's even worse than the Clemson purple for you?
Tell you the Georgia Power Ranger jerseys.
No, I actually like those. There's another. Oh gosh,
Ugh.
I feel like there's another one. I feel like it was a throwback Michigan tried to do a few years ago that was worse.
Like with the big M on the chest.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Nebraska did
was
the same
that
thing,
one.
and Wisconsin did the same thing.
Yeah, no.
And also give me another bad jersey is Michigan State's like neon. I don't know if you've seen that one where they have like the neon green. That's an ugly one. And then I'll go to another one. Notre Dame has some fantastic classic uniforms. The gold lids, the navy. Those are really. I'm with you, Will. I'm more of the traditionalist when it comes to uniforms. Like you give me like even go back down to some like the Georgia Southern. Like it's just a plain, clean look. You go with that. But I'll even ask you, what is the best brand? Like Under Armour has their schools. Adidas is kind of rising.
Adidas,
Nike obviously has a massive.
No,
but what are you going to go
Nike.
with? You think Nike is?
I think Adidas.
Nike.
I think because I may be biased, not because of Troy, because I wore Adidas my senior year of high school. The way it feels for one, it's a lot better than a Nike jersey fitting wise, and just the way they look compared to like Nike jerseys to me are it's just a cleaner look. But that's just that's my biased opinion because I did get to wear them for once, so it's fun.
Adidas uniforms, they're on the rise. A lot of programs are using them, most notably Georgia Tech has unveiled. They went from Russell Athletic to that massive, massive jump. Will, you said Nike. Is it just because it's one of the best brands? I mean, obviously with Oregon, what you talked about, but they have I feel like every big time blue blood university in college and a program in college football has that Nike emblem somewhere, or the Jordan if you go to North Carolina or Florida.
Well, and Oklahoma, they're Jordan too. No, I just think Nike looks better. I mean, the uniforms themselves and then, the apparel that comes with it. Like Under Armour shirts, they look and they feel they don't fit right. But a Nike, there's not a lot better than a Nike t-shirt or a Nike golf shirt.
I just got a message through Facebook of someone who's watching. He said Penn State can't stand Penn State's. I know why he doesn't like Penn State's uniforms. It's because he's a fan of another team in the Big Ten. So I understand that one, and I get that one. Penn State, though, I mean, with the white jerseys home. But to me, I'll say this: Auburn's all white is one of the cleanest looks that there is, and it kind of goes underrated because Under Armour is kind of a weird brand. South Carolina also has Under Armour, and I'll say it can be an annoying, but if you are a fan of this team, then the Tennessee orange is something they love to throw in. They wear the all orange. That's a lot, but for the fans up there, they really like they like that color and they like what they roll with that. Just not good, not good at all. Not even a fan of it.
No, the smoky grays are better.
I'll throw in another couple of Adidas schools. Mississippi State has had some good uniforms in years past. Texas A&M. Arkansas went back to their traditional uniforms this year with just the Arkansas across the chest, and that was a great look. Yeah, that was a great look.
Texas A&M, they went back to that traditional look as well.
Arkansas went back to the days of Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. So what a combination there. That team didn't that Arkansas team make an SEC
West?
Yeah,
they won the SEC West.
Yeah, so they had some great looking uniforms. If you have a great uniform, comment below. And think about that, McFadden and Felix Jones. I mean, and Darren McFadden, I think he made it to New York. Obviously, he didn't win the Heisman, but I think that he went to New York maybe his junior. It was either his last year in college football, junior or senior year. But yes, fantastic uniforms in college football. What is the most unique uniform you've seen? Okay, like what is a uniform you're like, wow, I didn't think that would go, but it's all right. It's all right. Ralph, what you going with?
Okay, well, it's not all right, but it's very unique. The Maryland jerseys when they have their state flags and stuff. I cannot stand that thing. That is to me.
Their state flag is a little weird.
I understand that. I understand why you're doing it. It's cool and all, but like it just doesn't work for me. And I'm I might make someone mad from Maryland, but it's just not a good look for a college football team to wear their state flag on their jersey like that, especially when the flag looks like that.
I think it's even a weirder color because of just the amount of colors that are in the state flag. Ralph or Will, what do you have?
I'm going with those Florida, the Gator uniforms. Mm-hmm. Those were horrendous. Another clean jersey look that we don't see a whole lot, but I think is underappreciated is LSU's purple jerseys. Those look really good.
Yeah. And LSU usually rolls with a white home and away, so I think that's why we don't necessarily see what they have to offer. But their purple uniforms are good. I think they wore those against Georgia Southern the year they won the national championship, if I'm not mistaken. So they played Georgia Southern. That was the only time that they
wore
Vanderbilt too.
Non-conference
Vanderbilt too. Mm-hmm. So those are some interesting jerseys. Jerseys are a big part of college football. We see it in recruiting, and that's going to bring us into the next topic of conversation here. We're talking about recruiting. A little bit things happening today. I think that we'll get to that. One comment I just got below was the Army-Navy game. Always have great uniforms, Army-Navy game. Every single year they unveil. And I kind of like how they do that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Army's with Nike and Navy's with Under Armour. I think that I've got that right on there. So those are some fantastic uniforms to obviously celebrate. And if you want to go back out west, Air Force usually has some really cool uniforms. They have that blue. They go with the silver. Before we get into our talk, are you guys a fan of gray uniforms? Like, do you like an all gray type of look or a silver type of look?
Yeah, I do.
I'm not.
Well, Ralph went with the smoke. Obviously, you have that, but Middle Tennessee State's one of those programs that they like to wear a lot of gray. You go with some other schools. Off the top of my head, I'm trying
Arkansas
to think.
State. They've worn a smoky gray.
Arkansas State. Colorado actually has a gray uniform. That's not a bad look. We talked about the Buffs on Tuesday with a little bracketology. They've got some as well. But, Will, I want to say this because the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets won in a basketball game on Tuesday, and they wore your most hated uniforms that you've ever seen. The blue uniforms with the big Georgia Tech logo.
Put them on the screen. Put them on the screen. They literally look like practice uniforms.
Let's see if I can get those.
You're the ACC. You're in a big basketball conference, a power conference, and you go out there and you look like you're wearing practice uniforms. I mean, is it because they've switched to Adidas and they're low on their uniform combinations or something?
Okay, so this is I want to get this because this is their uniform combination that they wear currently. Okay, so this is what we're going to get right here. I'm going to share this on the screen for the viewers. These are, to me, this is a clean look, just a very clean look. Let's get this right here for you and see right here. Okay, so that's their look. Now, obviously, the one on the right is a women's uniform, but the men and women wear that. That's a good look to me. It's clean. It looks pretty good. Now, let's roll back. I'm going to bring it back down here, and I'm going to give you the uniforms that they are wearing for this upcoming year, presented by Uniswag, a cool account on social media. You should check it out. I'm going to roll back to this one. And let's see if I can get to it here. I'm not going to be able to. We're just going to show all Google images, and that's fine. That's completely okay. We just need our intern. He's not here. He's on the road tonight. But let's see here what we got. You can't really see it. It's very small. I don't know why it's looking like that.
That's a practice jersey, Will.
That is the uniform. Why is that picture so small?
That's an even better question.
I got to look a little closer here.
They've got it so small so you can't see how horrible it looks that they would wear that game.
It's not a good look. And then I want to throw these on here, okay? Because we're all Georgia Tech right now. Obviously, I wore the Georgia Tech pullover to dinner tonight. This is another one they have. So they have this white one. That's a better look. That's a great look to me. But here's a better look at the one, guys, we were talking about right here. So that is the uniform that is not your most fantastic combination, I would say. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I agree.
Don't understand. Don't understand why they wear that.
Let's get a couple comments in here. AJ Ingram, Alabama has the most traditional, and it makes all their unis look trash. You made me mad. Will these Gators unis look so much better in person? The Air Force gray unis were sick. Air Force has some silver slash gray uniforms that are sick. And then AJ also, again, with the Georgia Tech uniforms. Adidas is starting to outperform, and it's a ton of fun to see what they have. Let's talk some recruiting, though, because that's the big conversation. Will, today in the world of sports, a guy for Auburn had an offensive lineman commit. We don't need to talk about him. We can talk about. We don't have to know the name.
I can't remember his name. But we should shout him out. He committed. It's a big day for him.
The big thing is we're shouting him out after.
And breaking news recruiting wise, Auburn just got another commitment for the class of 2022 class. Okay, I don't think this guy has it right. It says Powell Gordon. His name's Gordon Powell, right?
Yeah.
Kid from Auburn Heights, Gordon Powell. Yeah, the tweet says Powell Gordon. But apparently he is committed to Auburn. And the guy that I'm getting this from is who we're kind of talking about. Gosh, I'm going to scroll through his tweets. Yeah, we're talking about him.
His name is Powell Gordon.
Oh, it's Powell Gordon.
His name is Powell
I thought
Gordon.
It was Gordon Powell.
Yeah,
okay.
Powell Gordon.
Okay, I was wrong. But the offensive lineman that committed today for class of 2021 is Thomas Kirkham.
So Thomas Kirkham is going to announce his commitment to Auburn, and a certain media entity decided to relay that information prior to the kid making the announcement. A big part of recruiting is this is an opportunity for the kids to make their decision, to have their moment. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, because at what point do we draw the line with recruiting? Like, you see on signing day fans with like hateful comments towards college recruits, whether it's football or not, but what line do we draw? Like, where do we draw the line where it's like, okay, your fandom comes into it, and the way you cover it, you just say, hey, this person made the decision. And I'll even say, from my experience covering, I've talked with kids who said, hey, I'm going to commit to Georgia Tech, but I'm not going to commit till Friday. Could you just hold off? Like, yeah, I'm not going to announce something because it's not my life. Like, that's, you know what I mean? It's not my life. So Will, I want to get from your perspective first, because you follow this account and you obviously know a little bit more about the Auburn sphere. When you saw this, was it surprising to you? We know this media entity kind of does this. They want to be the first to break news, but you've got to let these kids kind of have, it's their own time to shine a little bit.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I think first of all, I don't think fans should be tweeting at recruits anyway, in any capacity, especially hateful, because just because you're a fan of Auburn or Georgia and a kid doesn't go to the school that you follow doesn't mean you should hate on the kid. The kid is playing college football. Most people that tweet hateful things at them, they didn't play college football. Mm-hmm. But no, you got to let the kids have their spotlight. Let the
boys play.
It's like, yeah.
Play.
That's Bryce's favorite saying, let the boys play. No, it's a huge day for them. It's a dream come true for most of them. You hear that time and time again when they talk about their committing. It's a dream come true for them, and let them have their moment. Don't steal their moment. It's their life. It's about them, and they have the ability to break that news, and you should let them break that news.
You should let them break the news. And for a lot of kids, this is a big opportunity. They're going to take to social media. They've got that graphic planned out. Ralph, you've obviously talked to some kids around the area. This is an important decision for them, and I think they deserve to have kind of that limelight.
Well, yeah, and one guy I like that, always like his tweets, always like to retweet what he does is Hayes Fawcett. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. He does all the edits for these big recruits, even small recruits, and he does all their edits for them when they commit and they sign. They get to show all these really cool edits of themselves and the jersey that's they're going to be wearing next year. And it's really cool. And, you're rooting for these kids who want to be the first to talk about themselves. And like Will said, it's about the kid, not the players, or not the other team, and not the guy who gets to go, oh, well, he commits to Auburn right now. I'm first to, announce. Like, I don't really care if you're first to announce. If he says, I'm committing to Auburn, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see some guy go and say, hey, he committed to Auburn right now. First, you heard it here first from me. Like, that's just sad. And, especially kids I've talked to, they're so excited. That's the one thing they're so excited for, signing day, to announce where they're going, to even, and watching some of the number one players in the country, they'll shock the country sometimes. You never know. We had a 4-star go to Jackson State this year. That never happened,
Yeah, and you have these kids that want to make these big decisions, and they want to, it's a big opportunity for them. And I think when you look at what these kids go through, what they're trying to make a decision, especially with what's going, kind of crazy right now, is they're never able to go on campus. So let's give them the time to shine. Let's give them a little bit of, dare I say, let them have the moment, because a lot of these kids, when they get on campus, and it's just the fact of the matter of truth, they may not compete. They may not get the chance to compete. This is their moment to kind of to bask in and what they've worked so hard for. So I think it's cool, and how we've seen that. And I want to get the next question: how has recruiting changed, or how recruiting has really changed? Because in the past 10 to 15 years, we've seen the rise of sites such as Rivals, 24/7 Sports, even going back even a little bit further with Scout.com, with these rankings and all these different things. Ralph, when you see this, I'll start off with you. How far has recruiting changed just from, let's just say, 10 years ago? Now social media has a big boom in it. Kids are posting offers of Huddle film, all that kind of stuff.
Well, Huddle was the main source of film for the longest time. When Huddle first came out, that was where you got your film from, especially when I was in high school. You sit your Huddle. You didn't have someone go on your Twitter page and find your Huddle and go and link the Huddle like, oh man, this guy's great, and then his Huddle tape would go viral. You had to send your Huddle tape to coaches, to recruiting coordinators, to people that worked at a certain college. It's just how it happened. And now you see 247 and Rivals start to grow. I mean, every single year. I love it. I love these websites who give these kids chances to see how good they are compared to everyone else in the country. Like, we saw Michael Williams there, that he earned his 5th star. He was a 4-star last year at Hardaway High School in Columbus. Now he's a 5-star. I mean, the kid's unreal. He's gonna go wherever he wants to on March 15th. Yeah, a few weeks we're gonna see where he announces, and
he deserves that. He deserves to have that
exactly.
Moment.
But what's weird about this year, and obviously because of COVID, no on-campus visits. You had I know when Auburn played in the 2013 Iron Bowl game during the Kick Six. If you watch the game, Auburn had just a whole area full of recruits. Those guys got to witness one of the greatest plays in football history in that environment. That would have made me commit right then and there, So not having those moments really changes and really kind of hurts some of those recruiting, for teams like that.
It hurts them. Will, when you look at this and you see how it's changed just from not only in this year, but going back even further. I mean, this is we're seeing the social media age. We're seeing positions coaches say, hey, looking for 2023 DBs. And you see a list in the comments and quotes of, hey, here's my film tape, 6'3" or 6'2" corner from, Vidalia, Georgia. When you see this, how much has it just changed in your opinion, just from the technology boom?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely internet based. I mean, coaches are looking at film and talking to kids before they even go see them, even, before this crazy year where everything got to be virtual. I mean, and coaches pretty much know what they're getting when they go watch a kid play. And there's really no surprises, because most kids film, you see everybody on the team, and you can spot out some talent from somebody else's film. So I would say for the coaches, it's become a lot easier. I mean, there's really no wasted trips to go see kids play like there have been in the past. It's indeed a different style. It's a different recruitment. Camps, a big part of it, and I just got a message about this, is camps and travel opportunities. And you go to baseball, travel ball has completely taken over. We've talked about it, just amongst ourselves. A lot of kids aren't playing Little League sports anymore. So when you go on the baseball spectrum and you look at that, it's definitely something that's crazy to see how it's just shifted. We're going to talk about with two of our guests that are going to come on here. Once again, you may know one. Y'all may have an idea of the one of them that's coming on. The other one, I definitely know you don't know is coming on. It'll be a ton of fun to talk to him, because he has he's got the experience of what it's like to be recruited and now helping kids be recruited. So I think it's just changed massively. When you look at rankings, kids posting stars. I mean, I saw one kid, 24/7 just did their update of stars. This one kid said, he's heading to Georgia Tech as a preferred walk-on. He has 0 stars. He said, I just got a profile. And it's all about getting to a camp, having a reporter or a writer see you. Whereas when you were younger, and let's go to the example, let's go locally here. Okay.
Tim Hudson is from the Columbus Phoenix City area. He goes and plays at CVCC. He never would have gotten notice if it wasn't for the idea of small time kids playing is no longer an opportunity. It's just completely different. You don't have small time people having this opportunity. So I'm going to bring on a guest right now. You guys don't know who it is, but I know who it is. I've talked to him previously. He's a former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. It's Mr. Jonathan Dwyer. Jonathan, I want to ask you this. Hope you're doing well, man, because we're talking about this subject right now here live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And I want to get your take because you played a big part in recruiting and you were recruited. How has recruiting changed just from when you were recruited to now?
Just the standpoint of like you get recruited through social media. Like before, it was just like, they had to come see you. Obviously, this COVID really, so they can't really come see you now. But regardless, like kids get offers through Twitter now. And it's like, there's no – and then I guess the communication is a lot different too. Like they can text you a little earlier than normal. I remember like I couldn't talk to any coach until like my senior year, basically. Like the rules are just a little different, and just the way they communicate with you, how you get your offers. Like guys get offers as freshmen or eighth grade, like that was unheard of. Like that was kind of foreign. So, but nowadays, I mean, people just try to get the heads, jump on a kid and, use. I guess they're guessing they're pursuing the kid grows and this, that, and third. So that's the biggest thing.
It's definitely different. We were talking about earlier just with how the importance of going to camps is huge. I think today, and Jonathan, correct me wrong, obviously you were highly recruited and you are now coaching and you see this. It's really rare for a kid to never go to a camp and never, it's almost a pay to play type of atmosphere we see. You got to pay to go to these big time camps to get seen by college coaches and recruiters.
But that's the only way you get noticed, unless you're just like that dominant on the field. From that standpoint, like you're filmed, like you got to go and like do your thing at these camps. Like I went to one camp, I ran a 40 and I left. Like, so it was just like, my dad wasn't really big on the camps. I wasn't either. Like the showcase camp, I did one showcase camp, then I went to a Georgia Tech camp, a Friday Night Lights camp from my University of Florida because I was interested in going there. Auburn because I was interested in going there. And I took a bunch of unofficial visits. That's what I did more than anything. Just take a bunch of unofficial visits.
Last question for you. We'll let you go. For your guys, obviously at the high school you're coaching at and just what you're seeing across social media for these kids and these seniors, how much is the impact of the extended dead period? They push it back even further. And how much is that really going to hurt these kids, not only in 2022 class, but beyond that?
I think so. I mean, I would say for us, our team, I would say it hurts still the seniors because a lot of our young guys already have their offers. It's just more so like they'll get more as they play. But like for instance, like we have a receiver now named Savion Riley. He's 6'3" and a half, runs a 4.4. Kid's a freak. Like I know he started to get looked by like USF and some things like that. But like from a standpoint of like what he's actually more worth, he's not going to get that opportunity until the season starts or until he goes to a camp. Whereas he should be, if this dead period wasn't extended, coaches would come to spring practice, watch him practice, and he would get like 10, 12 hours before his junior school year is almost over. So it kind of sucks for those kids, and I feel bad for them. But it is what it is. They're going to get theirs. They just got to grind and. This really shows how much you really care about your sport. If you're willing to sacrifice everything, not with the unknown. And then as a college recruiter, you're really putting your job on the line because you're going off of film. You're not going off of actual visual of seeing this kid, et cetera, et cetera. So you're really putting your job on the line as well.
Well, Jonathan, we appreciate you coming on, man. Such short notice. I sent you a message and you just said, yeah, I'll hop on real quick. But we appreciate you talking to us, man.
Oh, man, no problem, bud. Appreciate you.
That is Jonathan Dwyer, former Georgia Tech legend of the Flats. He was kind enough. Guys, what were your takeaways from what he talked about? I think he hit the nail right on the head. He's a high school coach now. Anything you could add to a guy who's had the experience of being a high-profile recruit? When I did the podcast with him a couple weeks ago, guys, he was like, he had schools knocking at his door. Mail was huge when he was getting recruited, and now it's Twitter DMs, graphics that these programs put out. Will, for you, I mean, what can you take away from what he said just from that standpoint as now a coach?
I mean, I think he said exactly, especially everything that I was thinking what the impact is. I mean, these younger kids, 2022 and beyond kids are at a disadvantage, big time. Even the top ones, the perceived top ones are at a disadvantage because coaches can't see them. And, you know, the under the radar guys are going to hurt the most from it, obviously. And, you know, I kind of have a feeling that the quality in college football, especially at the higher levels, might drop off because those guys are going to stay under the radar and the big schools won't see them.
We're going to go to commercial break real quick, and then we're going to come back with another special guest. He's on the road, but we're going to talk to him a little bit about recruiting and a little bit about the Diamond as well when we come back.
Cook's Place began serving our signature hot dogs in 1985 from a cart on Broadway. We still serve the best hot dogs and scrambled dogs in town at the corner of Moon and Miller Road and at the landings. Our friendly staff won't let you leave hungry. Come in and eat to the beat with our 50s jukebox. Cook's Place, fast service, great people, awesome food. What are you waiting for?
We're back here. Russell, how are you doing, sir? Are you in
I knew
the Palmetto State?
That voice in the background.
Are you in the Palmetto State? Are you in South Carolina yet?
No, we leave tomorrow at 1:00.
Tomorrow at 1:00. Well, Russell, I want to talk a little bit about this to you because we'll talk about recruiting just from the baseball standpoint. I want to get your take on this because obviously you're playing at Columbus State, which is, you know, your hometown school and everything. But when you look at recruiting nowadays on the baseball end, is it one of those where you feel like it's almost pay to play? Are gone are the days of a kid just dominating in Little League and getting looked at in high school ball? Does he have to go play travel ball to really get that next and that big opportunity?
Well, to an extent, yeah, I agree with you that it is kind of pay to play for more opportunities. But I think for the most part, you still have those freaks that kind of get exposure from if you're blowing 95 out of high school, you're going to get seen regardless. Mm-hmm. They will find you. It's not like you're just going to go under the radar and go to, no offense, like LaGrange College or Columbus State. They will find you. But yes, I do think that it has gotten to a point where recruiting has kind of overtaken Little League. You don't really see a lot of guys just play strictly Little League and then go to Pony League or anything like that. No, you pretty much have to go to Atlanta to get full exposure. And that kind of started probably around our age, I would say. I mean, I remember I had to play Little League and travel ball. I would finish my Little League game, drive up to Atlanta to play in a travel ball game at 7 p.m. and then come home. So, yeah.
Wow. And I remember, I don't even know if he's still playing with you all, but a former high school teammate of mine, Jared Little, he never played Little League. Like he played like C-ball and then with us. And then the next time I played with him was in high school. So I think it's just such a different thing. And I'll open it up to, you know, Ralph and Will as well. But recruiting's so different. How is it different from when I mean, like now with social media, I mean, I'm sure you see kids, hey, I just got offered by CSU for baseball. Like the level of people who are committing. We even have kids locally. Let's go to Ben Shore, who played at Columbus High School. I mean, the kid committed 4 years ago, and now he's finally on campus at Auburn.
Is that a question for me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, a lot of local guys are starting to come over to CSU. For a while there, it seemed like they weren't really hitting the Columbus market for some reason, but I had no idea about that. The coaches explained that. But, yeah, like Ben Shore, he's a great player. He goes to Auburn, but he too had to go to Team Elite, go up to Atlanta, compete with the best. I mean, it kind of is good for a lot of kids, I would say, in some scenarios because they are facing the top level talent in the country, and it's all at one place at East Cobb Baseball Complex. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. I mean, it kind of sucks for the guys that are down in, I don't know. I mean, even in Columbus, some guys that are just not having that opportunity. So, but yeah, I mean, Jared was a great player too. He was kind of a diamond in the rough. So,
yeah, Jared, one of those guys. I remember we could recognize him immediately because of the hair. That was immediately because of the hairdo. We knew who Jared was. So, obviously, Jared, a fantastic pitcher from the right side. I want to talk to you about Columbus State because you guys got to open up your season, and we were talking about before the season, you were just kind of ready to go. Like all this, You have all these workouts, you're dealing with COVID, you're doing all these different things. But man, obviously you got your season kicked off last weekend. You had one game rained out, you played 2, but now you're going to head up to play Lander this weekend. What is the scouting report on Lander? How good are they? What are you facing up there?
Lander, they're a very good opponent. Pretty much every Peach Belt team's going to be able to swing the bat pretty well. You'll find that across the whole board. Very high-scoring game, sometimes a little sloppy, but they're going to be very aggressive. They're a big physical team. We're kind of in the middle. We have a few big guys, but we're not going to just slap around the ballpark all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But Lander, they're a very good team. They have a few good arms. I think they have a couple of transfers. A few of their starters are maybe from like North Carolina or so. But that's normally what you see in D2. The top level teams will maybe have a Division I transfer, a lot of junior college guys, just really physical and will swing the bat a lot. So, but Lander's a very good opponent.
Obviously, talk about your own team as well. We have said off air, we've talked with other people. Columbus State has had a talented team all the way back going to the College World Series a couple of years ago. Last year, unfortunately, you felt like had a fantastic team, and then COVID hit. But you told me you feel like this team can be very special. A mix of people like yourself, we'll call them super seniors per se, and then you also have these freshmen that are coming in, which is a really talented class. For you, when you see this team and you look at how this team's constructed, I don't want you to get into the prediction game, but you feel like this could be a really special year.
Yes, for sure. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit past my expiration date on the team for sure, but the guys are a really good bunch of group. It's a good group. We mesh well with every team, though. Every team that was good last year, they pretty much have the same guys back, unless they went to the draft. But you don't really see that a whole lot in D2. For the most part, we lost 2 key bats from last year, but our whole entire pitching staff came back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good sign for us, but a lot of the guys we added are very talented. They're got some characters for sure. We're a fun group to watch, but yeah, I think this team is very special. It's part of the reason why I came back, and looking forward to the season as it unfolds.
Obviously, you're going to play on the road, back-to-back road trips to start off. When is the first home game, and when can people here in the area come out to see you?
Next weekend, we have our first home series against Augusta. They're another PBC team, Peach Belt Conference, if everyone didn't know what that means. They're another pretty talented team. I mean, I think they have a few transfers from South Carolina because they're right on the border there. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle for a whole entire year. We're playing 40 games instead of 50, so it's pretty much a foot race all the way until the end. Obviously, COVID, who knows what happens, but we get tested every week. But, yeah, it's looking pretty good. I mean, we're getting a lot of games in across the conference, but Augusta is a good team as well. But next Friday, I believe, it might be because this year we're playing double headers.
Okay.
So you kind of get 2 games for the price of 1 if you come out. So
there you go. Well, make sure to come out. Hopefully, it'll be fantastic weather like we're having. I think it's supposed to be great weather for opening day at is it still Burger King Stadium? Is it Ragland Field at Burger King Stadium? Is that did I get it right?
So it's Burger King Stadium at Ragsdale Field.
Ragsdale Field. Gotcha.
Yeah, that Ragsdale. Coach Ragsdale is the original baseball coach at Columbus State. So.
Gotcha. Well, Russell, we'll have to have you on again. Thanks for you getting home quickly, getting in front of a computer and talking to us. Best of luck this weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
That is Mr. Russell. He's performed as our intern a little bit on the show, but now we've got to have him on, guys. Columbus State's going to kick off. I should say not kick off because it's not a football team, but it's a baseball team. Successful athletics all the way around. But the Columbus State guys, we've seen what they've been able to do 2 years ago. They make the College World Series, and man, right there until the end last year, they felt like they had a talented team. This year, I'm excited. We're going to have to go out to some games and provide coverage, and that's a little plug for the website. You got to sign up today, completely free. We just want you to get on the mailing list, and then if you want to after that, you can pay us a little something as extra for some appreciation. But I'll say this: I feel like this, guys. Columbus has a fantastic sports. There's a lot of great athletes here from high school ranks. We've seen it. We've even seen it from the college ranks of guys going players and even coaches. Del McGee, we talked a lot about him. He is originally from Columbus and everything. So when you see these guys, it's important to provide some coverage. So we encourage you to follow us along here for all the coverage, all the way from, we'll say, LaGrange all the way into the edge of Russell County. That's where we'll get you. We'll get you from Central High School all the way to about LaGrange Troop in that area. I know the Troop Tigers got off to a fantastic start in baseball, 7-1 to start off the season, and they played some high-profile teams. So, guys, I think that we are going to wrap it up here with a final topic of conversation, and one that is going to be a ton of fun. We've had some great guests on tonight, but it's going to be the final thoughts. We're going to go back to college football. What program, if they get the right guy, if they get a certain player, they get a quarterback, what program do you – and I want to say, because, Will, I know who you're going to say, so this may throw you off. You say who you're going to say, but then I really want someone who's down right now. Like a team that is actually like down that you could say this team is a sleeping giant. If they get the right coach, they get a good quarterback, and they get excitement in that program, they have all the resources to be dominant. Will, I'll go with Ralph first since I'll let you think.
Well, I mean, so when we say sleeping giant, I know mine's not a small school. It's a very big school. They've always been good in past. They've had some rough years. With a new coach, I like them this year. They have a solid running game, and they got a good quarterback. I'm going to go with Texas. And I think that because look at that.
Look at that.
Right here all day. I like how Texas they're going to bring to the table this year. They got a great coaching staff. I think Steve Sarkisian is going to really – I'm not saying Texas is back because that's jinxes them every single year. But I think Sarkisian is going to really turn that program around. He's done a great job recruiting so far. I think he's an awesome offensive-minded coach. And Texas is going to do very good big things this year. Obviously, Iowa State, Oklahoma, big competition in the Big 12 this year. And it's gonna be a shootout this year in the Big 12. Obviously, I've always said the Big 12 has no defense, but Texas could shock some teams this year with how good they're going to be. I feel like
let's don't get out of the question. Their ceiling to me they have the talent. They could be a New Year's Six team. Like they could sneak into a New Year's Six bowl. Will, for you, what is a team that is a sleeping giant? They've got the resources, they've got the facilities, but they just need the right man at the helm.
Well, even though you said I can't say the one you knew I was going to say, I'm the same anyway. That's UCF. I think Gus Malzahn is going to have them at the top all the time, not having to play Alabama and Georgia every year. I think UCF is going to sit in the top 10 year in, year out under Malzahn. But the real sleeping giant, still in the state of Florida, I'm going Florida State. That you said they got to have the facilities. They don't really have the facilities. They need to kind of up their game in the facilities, but there is no reason Florida State, Miami, even UCF now with such a great coach in Malzahn should not be at the top of the country every year. I mean, the talent pool in Florida is as deep, if not the deepest in all the country, right there in their own home state. I like Mike Norvell. I think he's a pretty solid coach. I'm a little worried that Florida State's a little bit over his head, especially this past year, which I know this year's a crazy year. Rough year one for him in every way possible. But all he's got to do is win a few games. I think he's got a good offense, innovative offense. I mean, if he could put together winning teams and go to New Year's Sixes with Memphis, there's no reason he can't compete for national championships at Florida State. Seminoles, they're a blue blood in college football, and the sport is better when they're at the top.
I'm going to roll with another one here. I'm going to go with an SEC program that just brought in a new head coach, and that is going to be the South Carolina Gamecocks. I think – now, I'm not saying that they got the right man for the job. I'm just saying that program – and he may be fantastic. That program, being in that state, being on almost the border of Georgia where the fertile recruiting grounds, it's a sleeping giant. If you get the right guy, if they get the right leadership – that program could be phenomenal. And I think, Will, we talked a lot about this when we were doing our live shows when they were talking about who are they going to hire. You and I both were kind of caught by surprise. This program is not as far behind as we think it is. I was under that impression as well.
They're near the top of the country. They've got some of the best facilities in the country. And, they've got a beautiful campus. Their stadium might be lacking, especially Georgia fans. They're going to like that one.
Yes.
But their facilities are top notch. They're as good as any. They're better than Auburn's facilities, and Auburn's been a lot better the last 15 years. Even with Steve Spurrier there, Steve Spurrier got them going. Steve Spurrier has made them a sleeping giant, and I agree with you. They get the right guy in there, they're going to be at the top of the country.
And two, they're playing in an SEC East that is obviously dominated by Georgia. We'll see how Florida responds to breaking in a new quarterback. Vanderbilt's got a long rebuild ahead of them, but what is their realistic
Tennessee's
ceiling?
got a long.
Tennessee has one.
Yes.
Kentucky's a team that could win 7 to 8 games.
Missouri, though.
Missouri's a talented program, but Missouri, to me, they've got their guy. Like, they've got Drinkwitz, and they've got their quarterback who they know. I think if South Carolina gets their quarterback, which we've talked about Luke Doty a lot of times, we've talked about Shane Beamer going in there. If Beamer can get the program excited, it's a rabid fan base. When they hit on Sandstorm by Derudo before a kickoff, I'm telling you, it's one of the best venues in college football. It's unbelievable. And listen, Will, you harped on the Steve Spurrier days with that program. I mean, they went to 2 SEC championships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so this is a program.
He had to get them going. It took him 5 or 6 years before they were at that level because they were so far behind. I mean, I think he's the reason why their facilities are as good as they are. I'm sure he's the reason. Along with his recruiting and coaching. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they just got to get another guy that can do like he did.
The South Carolina Gamecocks will had the UCF Knights, and as well, who else you have, Will? The Florida State Seminoles.
That's Florida State more than UCF.
Gotcha. That's a good one. And Ralph, you had the Texas Longhorns, which I'm telling you one thing, the recruiting's there. And we named, in our defense, we all named 3 Power 5 programs, okay? And out of those 3, South Carolina – well, yes. Well, South Carolina is probably the least successful in tradition out of all those programs. Florida State obviously been a powerhouse all throughout the 90s and early 2000s. Texas dominant up until Colt McCoy got hurt in that national championship game. We kind of saw them fall off. But I think they all have some things in common. They haven't won in a long time. And the most recent success we've seen out of those programs was Florida State in 2013.
Yeah. I had another team come to mind as well. And, I don't think they have the right guy, but similar to Steve Spurrier with South Carolina is getting them going the right way. And that's Maryland and their head coach, Mike Loxley. I mean, he's plucking 5 stars from Louisiana, Florida. I mean, he's just plucking a 5-star or 2 every class to into his recruiting class. And, I mean, they're pretty close. I think if he was the guy that would be starting to make that step forward, I think we'll see this year in 2021, if they make that next step playing in the Big Ten East, which is the gauntlet of the Big Ten. You got to play Ohio State and Michigan every year, and Penn State. Penn State's another sleeping giant. But, I think if Loxley's going to be the guy, 2021 is the year to make the step.
I'm going to roll with 2 more, and then we'll close out the show. I'm going to go out west, Arizona State with Herm Edwards. That is going to be something to continue to keep your eye on. They have a fantastic young quarterback who will be entering his pseudo-sophomore junior season. Start as a freshman, upset Oregon, who was on their way to a college ball playoff appearance, potentially his freshman year. And then, obviously, another program for me that we saw what they can be, and that's Texas A&M. They've gotten close, the Johnny Manziel years, but they were just so-so. Jimbo Fisher did a fantastic job. He's recruiting an elite level, and Ralph, kind of a program that's going to be competing with the Longhorns for a lot of those recruits.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's all we got for tonight. We appreciate you watching. We thank Jonathan Dwyer for coming on and Mr. Russell, the intern himself. The Cougars are going to be playing that 3-game series at Lander. Guys, any final thoughts other than that? And we're going to go back to my man, Lake Man Owen, right here. He doesn't know if they can hang with Clemson yet. I'm going to say he's talking about South Carolina, and I'm not even talking about on a national stage. So I want to make sure to get that right.
Actually.
UNC. There we go. There we go. We got UNC with Sam Howell. Coach Mack has won championship. That's a program that is a sleeping giant as well. We talked to them over their bowl game recruiting that he's done a fantastic job. So listen, we'll see you all again on Tuesday. We got a great podcast coming out Sunday. Make sure to stay tuned to thecrowdedbooth.com as we get more and more coverage as the springtime is here. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. It's starting to get a little warmer around the Chattahoochee Valley area. We appreciate everyone watching, and